Ambassador Factor.
What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This is your boy Bagful B of The Last of the Factor, and with James Gunn's Superman hitting theaters this July, I decided that once a month I will watch one Superman-related movie every month, starting with the original classic from 1978, Superman the movie. So let's review. So basically, Superman 78 is a classic retelling of Superman from his origin to how he becomes Superman and his first encounter with Lex Luthor, how he meets Lois Lane, you name it. Now, let me be clear, I've never been a huge fan of Superman as a character to begin with. I mean, I like Man of Steel when it first came out, but overall, Superman, he's never really been my favorite superhero, so therefore, I never really saw well, up until the pandemic, I never saw any of the Superman movies. I did watch this movie and Superman 2 during the pandemic for the first time. I've yet to see the movies that followed after that, and believe me, I am dreading it. But when I watched that first Superman back in 2020, I thought, okay, you know what, this is a pretty solid movie about Superman. I mean, I just had to watch it through the lens of 1978, and for what it's worth, it was a good effort back in the 70s. And I thought it's a good movie to introduce you to Superman and the idea of him. And that's one thing I will admit. I believe in the idea of Superman, but not necessarily the character. And I still feel that way watching this movie, I guess almost 5 years later from when I watched this movie for the first time. I did think this is a well made superhero movie from the 70s. And for what it's worth, I thought Christopher Reeve did an excellent job playing his character. And it's crazy because at the time when I'm recording this video, over the weekend, I watched Superman, the Christopher Reeve story documentary with some of my co-workers. And like I said, that is one of my favorite movies from last year, let alone favorite documentaries from last year. That movie made me believe, well, that documentary, I should say, it made me believe in the man behind the cape, and that is Christopher Reeve. He did an excellent job. He pretty much is Superman, and he was even after the accident. And this movie is a great showcase of him as an actor and as this character. And they say it'll make you believe a man can fly, and for what it's worth, this movie did make me believe that Superman is flying, even through 1978. And the special effects in this movies is just excellent, even for 1970 standards. I was just really impressed by that. In fact, one of my favorite things about this movie is basically the whole beginning when Superman is just a baby, then he gets sent off to Krypton, and Krypton gets destroyed. I thought that alone was excellent. In fact, dare I say, I think the destruction of Krypton in this movie was just more devastating than it was in Man of Steel. And you got Marlon Brando, who played Jor-El in this movie, and I thought he did an excellent job. And, he got the floating head in the Fortress of Solitude. I will say my favorite actor in this movie, and he plays a more bigger role in the next movie after this, is Terrence Stamp, who plays General Zod in this movie. I don't know, I just, he basically understood the assignment in this movie. He was acting his ass off in this movie. He was chewing scenery. We all know the scene at the beginning of the movie where he was like, "You will bow down before me, both you, and then one day, your ass." All right, I know he said your heirs, but come on, you can't tell me you didn't hear him say your ass when he recited that line. Ma and Pa Kent in this movie is basically as classic as they can get in this movie. I mean, they met Superman as a baby. They raised him to be a good boy, and then the classic death of Pa Kent, in which he had a heart attack and died. That is definitely the classic Superman Ma and Pa Kent story right there. Though they don't have a bigger presence in this movie as they do in Man of Steel, which I definitely did not expect, but I thought they were used sparingly and the right way in this movie. You got Lois Lane in this movie, and dare I say, I think she's a better Lois Lane than Amy Adams. And I think Amy Adams played a good Lois Lane, but to me, this is definitely the definitive Lois Lane right here. She works with the Daily Planet. She's definitely headstrong, and she is just there trying to get the story. And her relationship with Superman and even Clark Kent, it definitely works. And her relationship with both of them plays an even bigger part in the next movie. Then you got Gene Hackman, who plays Lex Luthor, and I'm gonna be honest, not my favorite interpretation of Lex Luthor, but I thought he was excellent. As a fan of original scores in movies, I have to mention John Williams, who made the classic theme for Superman in this movie. It's iconic. It plays during the opening credits of this movie. Just how this movie starts and introduces the movie. To me, that was Chef's Kiss. I think the biggest thing I don't like about this movie is basically just the ending about how Superman he saves the day but he fails and Lois Lane dies and then he just goes around the world and spins backwards and spins back time so he can go back in time and save her. I thought that was a bit of a cop out ending right there, but overall I still enjoyed the movie, and it may not be my favorite Superman movie, it may not even be my favorite superhero movie, but overall, I felt this was an excellent blueprint for what a Superman movie could be. And clearly, James Gunn, he's taking inspiration, well, taking some inspiration from this movie for his movie. And I can't wait to see how he makes a Superman movie. Superman, the movie from 1978, will easily get the hard eyes emoji from me. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm not even going to ask you, have you seen this movie? Because chances are you have seen it. But if you have, do you think it still holds up? And how much does this movie mean to you? Let me know in the comment section below. This is your boy Bankful B of The Last of the Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.